RS90 time, boys. This is the new RS90 Samsona sequential transmission. It has 4mm wider gears, which will allow it to handle more horsepower. It's supposedly rated to 2,000 horsepower, whereas this one is rated to more like 1,200 horsepower, 1,400 horsepower. I guess it would more so come down to torque, because torque is what would break your transmission. This one can obviously handle more than this one. If you look, it's a little more stout. It's like actually shorter. This is the same design as a 6-speed. This you cannot get in a 6-speed. It's only a 5-speed. The overall length is identical. Some of the things that did change, unfortunately, for myself, because I'm gonna have to make a new mount, is the mounting point is now about 1 inch different. But overall, very similar. It bolts to the same adapter plate that we make, the Rad Industries Collins adapter. Collins built it for us. We had told them how to do it. We were the ones that sell it. If you guys want an adapter that'll get you to a quick time for your certification for being legal for Formula Drift, you could buy it on our website. Or if you wanted an adapter plate that mounted for a J3 bell housing, we also sell that, and we made one of those, and it has the bolt holes for a Tilton inside there, Tilton slave for the ACT clutch that we run. So basically, I'm gonna throw this in there. Uses the same input shaft, thankfully. So I'm gonna put it in there. Basically, what I'm gonna do is build a new mount today, because what it looks like is, crazy thing is it looks like this is in the exact same spot, like this might even. That's gonna be cool. Use the same shift linkage. That will be really cool if that's the case. Same shift linkage, same drive shaft. Unfortunately, new transmission mount, which might be kind of like a 3-4 hour job to do it correctly. Maybe 2 hours if you did it sloppy. We're not doing it sloppy. And then unfortunately, I got to powder coat it to make it look the part of my race car. This is how we make our mounts here. Very clean looking. What I'm gonna do here is get to work, I guess. Mount this guy up. I just wanted to share with you guys, because sequential transmissions are a thing that I guess very few people are gonna buy. It's a really expensive part. It costs, you know, over $12,000 for even like a, I guess a 4-speed is about, yeah, so they went up in price. This one's $14,000. This one is more like $18,000 because it's their best one. There's transmissions that are even more in the $20,000s. That's ridiculous. Like, who's gonna buy that? Only race car guys are gonna buy it when they need that for their racing series that they're in. So I'm trying to give you guys as much behind the scenes like info on this. It's probably cool for some of you guys to see it, and then it's also something you don't even never gonna have, but you just want to learn about it. I'm trying to teach you guys. I'm gonna swap this over to this real quick. I'm wondering if the reverse gear is even, I could even use the same reverse cable. This is so cool. Very few things that need to be modified. Let me get started on it. There's all kinds of noises here at the shop. He's cutting and grinding. He's hammering. He's underneath that Corvette back there. All right, real quick, guys. I switched over shift linkage. I just wired in my potentiometer wiring to go to my dash for my gear indication. I copied this one. That's my old mount. Was a really cool mount, looks great. Like I was telling you, got to powder coat the next one. I just kind of made some measurements real quick off it and bent a tube. Pretty much replicates the exact arch and bend as that one, with the same amount of center line in the center here of straight. That's what I'm gonna work off of. Obviously I have to trim it down. The bar will have less of a arc on it because it needs to be more straight up and down underneath these mounts, because the other one kind of came backward. It's gonna change by 1 inch now. Let's see, did it go backward or forward? Oh, so the other one went forward. This one has to go more forward now. The bar is gonna be leaned even more this way. A little frustrating because of how close that one is to the underside of the trans. It's gonna be the same, like where it's, you know, like this far off from hitting the mount. Gosh, it's loud here. We're doing hot rod stuff over there. So I'm trying to get as prepared as I can before I throw that in there and then go, okay, yeah, the drive shaft works, but I need to make a mount. Now I'm gonna go cut a piece of angle iron. So this is one small section of, you know, 3/16 angle iron. I think it's like 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch angle iron. You cut like 3.25 inch section. You lop that side off. You trim this to look more appealing to the eye, so it doesn't look like a big piece of angle iron from a tractor or something. Angle iron really doesn't belong on a race car, but in this scenario, it works great because it has that little arced edge there on the 90, and it folds around here and holds it put right there. Lets you bolt your bolts in. There's no movement side to side, and it's very rigid. So we use a small amount of it. There might be, no, there's 0 other places on the car I would use angle iron. Literally just right there. Otherwise, I don't want to see angle iron on a race car ever. And if you guys have something to say about that, it just doesn't belong on there. Okay. Oh, Renee's gonna finish this up for me. Do you want to finish this trans mount for us? Oh, you're gonna lift it?
Of the trans.
She's gonna throw it in. You guys want the good news or the bad news? Check it out. Drive shaft works perfectly. It's in. I put my drive shaft loop in. Everything is like exact placement of the old one. Still gotta build the mount though. Just getting everything ready. The only thing left I would have to do is build the mount, finish weld it, which I'm gonna do that throughout the day. I just have to go do an errand right now. So I'm gonna strap the U-joint caps on this, tighten it down, and then later can finish this mount here that I've started. So I have 2 ways I could modify it to make it work because it's further forward. See what the problem I'm running into is before I would have the mount kind of like angle like this. Now I'd have to really angle it like that to get it to go underneath there. Or maybe I make this part a little longer and just go straight under. I have to stare at this whole thing for a little while, but overall, really happy with how it's turning out. Pretty dang centered, everything just worked out. That's nice. More to do, so I'll update you guys in a little bit here. Check it out, new mount. There was a lot of cutting and grinding and whatnot. You saw this when it was a little bit longer before I trimmed it down. Then I used my tabs and yeah, I had to make this. I didn't show you guys, but that's a piece of angle iron. We're good to go, everything's basically done now. It's gonna get powder coated later. I gotta hook the exhaust back up, so I just kind of rolled it out of the way, and it has a rubber hanger so I can stretch it backwards, slip fit it, put those little spring clips that are so cool that Taycan has. They're like from a motorcycle, and we just have 3 of them. It seems to be working good. I've plugged in all my wiring. Shift linkage should work the same. I just don't know yet if the indication on my dash is going to read correctly for gear indicator or if I have to reset that. I do have to add some Torco gear oil into here. Cool thing is now this is the fill and this is the drain. That's gonna be easier than on the older trans. Because before, on the other one, this was the fill, which not so bad, but then that was the drain. Just getting all over your trans mount, which is kind of a pain. I like a lot of this new setup. I guess that was pretty quick work, but we've done like 12 of these over here before. It's not like the first time. Let's go over and see what Andrew's doing. I think he has a story to tell you guys.
I haven't thought of that long ass story yet.
So this one time I was driving, I have an FJ80 and I was just driving it through this trail. I don't know. So this one time I packed up the drift car early. It was sitting on the open trailer and it was late and I went to sleep. Got here in the morning to do my, just leave. I'm like moving the truck and trailer out and there just happens to be a cat jump out the window of Baby Blue. I'm like, oh great, a cat. And then shortly after, another cat jumps out the other side. I'm like, oh great, 2 cats slept in my car. I don't want to think about it. It's early and I just start driving up to Willow for like the drift day. Get there, then I like open the door of the car to start it to let it warm up because it's like 39 degrees at Willow and I'm like, it's gonna take a while. And it just smells horrible. I'm like, man, cats smell bad for just like laying in my car overnight. But they didn't just lay. They also took a crap under the driver's seat or like on the floorboard of the driver's side. And then I drove the whole way up there with just oh my gosh, I was mad. Moral of the story is stray cats suck, I guess. House cats are good. I don't have windows. There's nothing I could do about that situation. Need an enclosed trailer, I guess. All right, I'm gonna get this Samsonas working and then go drive it. All right, complete. Taycan exhaust is back in. All the parts are in. Kind of cleaned it. Added some Torco gear oil, 85 140. So now I'm gonna get the car lowered. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna run it through the gears and I'm gonna see if it's working right. It should be working right. I just don't know if the display is gonna read right. You guys can find out with me when we do this. Hurry up, Lift. FD Skills Battle is in like exactly a week from today. So I wanted to get it in so that I can drive it at FD Skills Battle. I'm also switching my front tires to the GT Radial Shapiro SX2 RS's in the front, because right now I just have SX2s because those are 17s. I got my raise today for the 18s in the front. So I also am gonna have to do some clearancing because I never ran 18s in the front and make sure I don't interfere. Like if I'm trying to do like reverse entries and stuff like that, which we'll do with the FD Skills Battle, I'm sure. Actually, we want this in the air. We want it like that. Let's hop in here. Cold start. It doesn't like to run very well, but we'll make it run. What did it just say? Did it just say I was in second gear? Come on. So that sucks. That's gonna suck. Samsona's RS90 install is complete. Next up, we gotta drive it. Talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, so today we're here with Cody Phillips and we're gonna do a couple modifications to the dash. We are going to also see that's Cody Phillips right there.
Let me try and do it from my Windows side. I wonder if that might help us.
Okay, so he's got to jump in and take over our laptop. We have it plugged into, this one is for the Motec stuff here, for the C127. This one here goes over to the PDM. And Cody is gonna program a couple things on the PDM for us, which he's programmed all of the stuff on the PDM already, but he always kind of updates and changes a little thing. If we've changed something, he's gonna change something. So we just changed to that new transmission. Look, we're sitting in neutral, but it says we're in second gear. So a little bit of modifications to where, I guess what it's seeing and how much, what is it actually looking for, Cody?
Voltage.
Oh, so it's like
reading on the gear position sensor.
It's like 0 to 5 volt. We also changed a bunch of stuff. So Cody's on speaker so Mark can see too, but Cody had helped us when we switched over. Well, first, Cody kind of helped with some ideas. I told you guys already about this water pump, improve the flow with that pump, it works good. And then he helped change some of the programming on the current PDM 30 that we're using so that we redesignate for more stuff out back here, because now we have the bottle heater out here and that pump uses more. So he helped set all that up. And then we went to the track and used it, but there was like 2 or 3 little fine things we had to change. But we were like, oh, we'll get to that later when we have time. One of which was we had to wait on this from Radium. This is a fuel sending unit for fuel level. In the meantime, we had messed with transmission, which threw off gear position, which you can drive it without that, but it's telling you the wrong thing, so you're kind of like guessing the whole time, and then you're also not knowing if you're in neutral, so you're like, am I in neutral or am I in first still? So that will help when we can fix that, but it's a lot of behind the scenes crazy stuff he's doing here, which we don't know how to do. But when you guys get Motec and a PDM in your car, Cody's the guy that can help you with it. So Mark, hit the flash button on the dash. Ooh, lights up, and then so that is what activates these lights underneath that Formula Drift is requiring now, but we had set it up all professional that way, and then Cody just programmed that button. So here, turn it off and it should go back off. See how it lights up to tell you that it's active? The light's off, the lights are off. More behind the scenes stuff.
You need to do this with your big dog monitor, dude.
Yeah.
Put it on the dash in the car.
That'd be cool.
Did you see I took mine to Texas?
Yeah, I didn't even believe it was your trailer, because Mark's like, Cody's setup's crazy. I'm like, that's not his trailer.
Yeah, it is. Alright, so let me do this. This way I'll figure out a way to be able to see multiple shit at once here. So tails, what do you want that to say now? Well, what do you check before a round? Did you just fucking send it and not look at any of this shit ever, or what?
I look at that page, but it'll just be when the car's idling, and I'm like, cool, we're only pulling like 65 amps, like that's nothing, you know? I just noticed it was like pulling taillights. I'm like, well, we don't even have headlights on, I'm not on the brakes, like there's no way it's pulling that, you know? And I was like, oh,
right.
The way yours is cool where it has everything. I just check it randomly. I'm not like probably analyzing as much data as you are.
Right. Okay, so the tails could probably just go away.
Probably.
Does this work when you start talking?
Yep, it flashes. It's pretty convenient. It like tells you it's
This is
working.
all overlapping itself.
Yeah, it always did that though. If you could fix it, it'd be cool.
But then water pump doesn't really matter now because it's like 5 circuits.
Oh, you can't make them all combined? Okay, so now Cody's working on gear position. He has to redo that table that shows the voltage per gear, basically. Our goal is to have neutral, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-speed, and then he'll even have to figure out reverse. Hey Mark, I need your help. Spin the wheel a little forward or backward. That should be reverse, Cody. Ooh, it reads first gear. That's second gear. So Mark is spinning the wheel. That's third gear. Because the drive shaft isn't spinning, so we need a little bit of movement to let it go to there. Fourth gear. Fifth gear. You just gotta reprogram everything. Then we go back through and see if it works. Neutral reads neutral. First reads first. Second. Hold on. Third reads fourth. Fourth reads fourth. Okay, so we ran it through the gears with the motor idling, and he's gonna get a little bit closer parameters of where each one was, and then kind of set up, he's saying set up walls around each side so that he'll know like between this and this voltage, that's first gear, and so on and so forth up to fifth gear. It won't want to do what you guys were seeing in there for a second where it'll flash from like second to third or whatever, or it'll pick the wrong gear. So we gotta like clear everything up so it knows what it's doing. So then when I'm driving, if I look down and glance down, it's not like I can watch that the whole time, but if I glance down, then I'll see, oh, we're in third gear, and I'll know, and I don't need to count the gears, I guess. See how he's kind of making the little plateaus on the scale there, graph. All right, so Cody set up all the parameters around each gear. Go to reverse, back to neutral, first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. All right, back down. Yep, everything is working perfectly. That worked really good, Cody. Yeah, it's like super fast refresh, and everything stayed in the gear that it's supposed to be in, no glitching or jumping or whatever you'd call that. Okay, next thing Cody's gonna program is fuel level sending unit. We're gonna start by trying to do 2.5 gallon increments. It's not gonna be perfect because these are hard as heck to stop at the right time. Try and do it, Mark, but you know how hard it'll be because it rushes a lot of fuel all at once on these ones. And then, I guess Cody will be watching this in here. Draining fuel out now, guys. We're gonna drain this fuel out. We put the right resistor in that Cody wanted. Of course. One more issue is this float touches some of the foam in there. So now we're gonna take this out, cut the foam away, and redo it. We might do that tomorrow. Problems, but we'll fix it. Cody's on the other side of the laptop. He's reconfiguring. Ooh, you guys see that fuel level? It's like a real life car now. Fuel level gauge. That means we can drive it on the street, I think. No, probably not. But we're gonna get some percentage there. It's not gonna be super accurate like your daily driver would be, but it's gonna give us more information than we've ever had in the past. And we ended up going to a 20 ohms resistor. And we tried about 4 to get where Cody liked the range of it. Once we got to the 20 ohm, it looked like it gave a pretty decent range where he could see us adding the fuel, and he's gonna set up the percentages on there. Got a lot of stuff to do behind the scenes, but that's what's going down, guys. Cody just finalized. See down there, we have fuel level 100. Unfortunately, we cannot get a full range because this fuel sending unit is a fresh updated one from Radium, and we're about 1.5 inches, 2 inches off from the bottom of the tank. So we read the top 6 gallons. So when we're at 0, we still have 3-4 gallons left. The pumps don't reach all the way to the bottom either, so you probably only would want to mess with like the 2 gallons in between that we can't read. So Cody set a light, so I'll have a warning light when we get down to basically 0 or 16% on that range there in the dash. And that will mean like, hey, add fuel, and we have about 5-6 gallons that we need to add, and maybe you did one more lap or something and you're just keeping an eye on it. Whereas before we had no idea, and we would basically guess how much fuel to add based on how many tires or like the amount of tire wear. This will be a lot more accurate, so it's gonna be exciting. Okay, he's gonna change the fuel level so you guys can see the light. There's the light, so that light will come on. See how there's these lights on the outside edges, so he's using this lower right indicator light, means add fuel. We'll probably see that here and there every once in a while, but that's gonna help us. It's pretty cool. And we're back at 100. We were full, but he's just doing that so you guys could see that in this video. Andrew, do you have a story for us? FJ80 story?
Oh, I do have a story of the FJ80. I bought the FJ80 and then 2 weeks later, I took it to the spillway. It's like a little off-road spot next to my house. My friend was like, it's no problem. He has like a lowered, no, not lowered, but it's lower than my truck, like Belmont, Montero. He's like, you can just drive through it and just keep on the gas and go right through. But what we didn't know is, I guess there's rangers, like park rangers, that put a bunch of boulders down in there so you can't see it because this is water and it's like a spillway for like a dam. As soon as I go down there, like we're fine, just cruising through, and all I hear is cocoon, boo boo, like chaos. So I just floor it, trying to keep going, and then nothing. Like I just feel my cruiser start sinking and sinking and sinking. Water is coming in like all the way up to my
went
waist.
inside the car?
Yeah, it sucked.
No.
So then I turned my car off so it didn't suck water in,
Yeah.
obviously, and then I had to get out of the car, have my friend hook up to the back, pull us all the way out. And I was just so bummed. Like it was 2 weeks after I bought my Land Cruiser too. And then so I just took it home, towed it home, ripped all the interior out, left it in the sun. It was just crazy.
He has a FJ80. It's a cool story, but that's sad. He set you up for failure.
He did. Well, he didn't know that there's boulders down there. They put it there so
Poor
because you're supposed to drive
Land
through the spillway, and on the other side there's like a party spot where everybody goes to hang out.
Next time.
They were trying to lock that down.
Next time. That's a good story, though. He finally told us a story about turtles and stuff.